Kia ora everyone, day 16 and this one stings. I made a costly mistake today. One misclick set off a chain reaction that led to a $600 loss. Instead of cutting it immediately, I hesitated getting out, and it just kept dropping. Instead of pushing the hotkey to sell, I looked for a bounce, but it just kept going down. Then I got caught in a halt and things just spiraled from there. It was one of those days where my mindset took a real hit and I started trading emotionally and I started trying to claw back the loss, but I just didn't recover. So in this recap, I'll break down exactly what happened, the lessons I took away from it, and what I'll do to recover and reset for tomorrow. So the first stock I traded this morning was this one? TNON. So this had sort of popped up on the scanner this morning, and I took 2 trades on it. Just bring up the sheet here. So the first trade was a loser here, as you can see on the graph here. I got in on this pullback here and it faded and I stopped out. So stopped out with $36, that wasn't too bad. And then as it sort of pulled back up, I took my entry as it broke over that pivot level there at around 378, 380. So I got in just above that and it was a good entry. I was happy with that entry. Volume was coming in. Let's come back to the volume bars here. Yep, so it was a good entry. Volume was starting to come in on that green candle and I held through the pullback and I sold too early. It had a little bit of resistance here, just at around $4. And I'm not sure why I didn't hold for the break of the whole dollar. Really should have held through that first push at least. And it definitely was worth it because it made a massive move after that. It went a whole $2 more, $2 a share more. So went from $4 basically to $6 in 4 minutes. So that would have been probably the end of my day if I had held on to that trade, and at least if I got to even up to here at around 470, even if I'd taken it there, that would have been around about $140 profit. And I would have been done and dusted for the day. I could have watched the rest of the stock market and seen what it did. But yeah, I didn't do that. I got out too early. And I've got to learn how to hold my trades longer. So at the moment, I'm holding too long on some of my trades when I lose and not holding long enough on my winners. And especially this one here, where it did hit a little bit of light resistance at the $4 mark, around the whole dollar, but I could have waited long enough to give it a chance to see if it was going to break or not, because it had only gone 12 cents a share for me. So, that's around my, price target. My first price target's around 10 to 15 cents, but that could have been a much bigger winner. And having those bigger winners will help increase my risk reward ratio as well. So that was the trades on TNON. Next stock I traded was the stock I misclicked on, KBSX. So this stock here popped up on the scanner. So I might bring that up on KBSX. Yep. Yeah, so this one here, what time did this pop up? just before 8 o'clock. It popped up initially around just after 7, around 7:30, and then pulled back. I didn't see that at all. And I saw it pop up on the scanner. I noticed it after it was pushing up through here. I noticed it pushing up on this green candle here, and I switched across to it. So if I bring up the one here, I pushed across to it, and as I pushed across to it, I scrolled across my screen with my mouse and accidentally clicked my left mouse button right on the buy button. So you can see here there's a couple of buy buttons here. My mouse came across here and hit the buy and the ask +2. So it puts an order out 2 cents above the ask. So I got filled pretty much near the top tick of that massive green candle, and it was pulling back. And instead of taking my loss around, I think it was about here, by the time I sort of got my fingers to the sell keys and that sort of thing, and I hesitated in getting out because I thought it might push again, but it didn't. And instead of getting out straight away, it dumped all the way down here, and I was waiting for a bounce. I thought it might bounce, and it didn't. It just kept going. So I hit my sell key. I didn't want to be breaking down past $2.60, and I was a bit worried it was going to go even further. So I just stopped out. So that was a massive loss for me. It was in one trade, $338 loss. So $1.69 a share loss on that one. It did, I did buy in after it started pushing back up. I bought in just here at coming up to the VWAP. So I just broken that first green candle. I bought in there for the break of that first green candle and the push through VWAP. I should have sold up here. I thought it might push further. And this is what I mean. I'm not executing the trade well. Out here I would have had about $100 back on the trade I just lost on. But I got out with about 50, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, $48. So I got out with $48 back on that massive loss. But that really triggered me. I just, yeah, it was just a mistake. And mistakes like that sometimes happen, but maybe I need to take my my hotkeys off this panel here and remove the keys there so I'm not misclicking them. I can just use my keys, my hotkeys on my keyboard to do my trades, and having them up here might take those away. So my next trade was on TNON again, and this one here is really an example of me being me struggling with my emotions, because I'm trying to, make the losses back, and I'm jumping into trades that are not necessarily the best trades, and then I'm holding my losers longer because I think the trade's going to work, and I just keep holding, looking for it to work. And this is what happened with TNON on this trade. It pushed back up here, and I missed this first entry here on this pullback. So I jumped in on the second pullback here, looking for a push higher up over 450, not 450, 490, through to $5. And it didn't go. It rejected, and instead of stopping out here, when it came down here and broke the support, I held it, and it never came back up, and I ended up taking a much bigger loss than was necessary. So I could have been out up here with a loss of, $20, and instead of $80 loss down there. So that was TNON. I don't think I traded that one again. No. And then I traded ALMS. ALMS had news, had a catalyst, and it popped up around 8:30 and made a big push up from, made a good push from $4.50 up to about $7.30. So a decent push. I missed all of this front side of this move. Let's just bring this here. So I missed that front side of the move, and I got in as it broke through VWAP here. That's where I took my first trade. Volume had come back in. I was looking for a push back to 687, and I was going to take some quick profit off that. It didn't work. It rejected pretty much straight away, and once again I didn't stop out. I could have stopped out through this area here, or even better here if I was going to hold. But I didn't do that. Instead, I'll just bring up my chart with my entries on it. ALMS, this one here, instead I held it through to the open. So I think it was last week, I took a trade near the open where I held into the open, and I stopped out when the stock flushed, and I took a decent loss on that. It was quite a big loss, and it was about $70, I think it was a loss on that one. But the stock actually pushed up to my profit target after I got out, and I think that's what was going through my head when I held this stock into the open. I thought, it's got news, it's done a big move, it's going to push back at the open. So I held it. It didn't push back at the open. It went straight into a halt down. I didn't manage to get out fast enough to get out of the halt. For some reason, my order didn't fill as it was going into the halt. And when it came out, I wasn't quite quick enough to get out at 510 or up there. My order got filled at basically around 470, and that was a loss of $307. So now I'm doubling down on my loss for the day and down 600, and I still didn't stop trading. Although the trades after that were a bit better. I did take a couple losses, but they were actually well within my stop loss, and I did manage to make some gains back on the loss. So I ended up making back around $70 or so on the loss. So I traded DM next. DM is this one here. So my first trade on it here, I got in and out on the same candle. Basically I jumped in looking for it to hold VWAP and push higher, but volume wasn't coming in, and I think this is also when no, that wasn't then. I think there's another stock that I saw coming up, and I thought, I'll have a look at that. It might have been DATS that was coming up, but I didn't like the look of it. It wasn't pushing, and it was just showing red, so I got out straight away, and luckily I did, because it flushed down and pulled back quite a distance. well, pulled back about, what's that, 80 cents, 60 cents a share. So got out of that one pretty quickly. And the next trade on DM, I got back into it as it broke VWAP. It did pull back. I did hold through that pullback, and it did rally again, and I took my exit out here. I did give it a bit of a chance to go further, but then when it pulled back, retested the VWAP, came back up, didn't really push through that high at 450, so I took that one off the table there. So slightly better trading now, but I'm still chasing. I'm still trying to chase clawing back that loss. So $32 profit on that second trade there on DM. Then I traded DATS. DATS, actually I might bring it up on this one here. DATS. So this popped up pre-market, made some moves in pre-market, and then at the open, it really started pulling away. Yeah, so at the open, it pulled back down to about $3 and then ripped up to $5.86, $5.93. And I traded this, there we are, as it was coming up to $5.87 just before 10 o'clock. So it had made some big moves, and it had gone from 350 here and pushed up to about 450, 440, and was pulling back. I took that pullback. It did give me a bit of a fright when it pulled back further, and I was in around $4.28, and then it pulled back down below $4.10. It did pop back up pretty quickly to about $4.18, $4.17 I think it was, and then started pushing higher, and it was coming back up through my entry. It was a bit choppy and that sort of thing, and I panic sold, basically. I got out basically break even, thinking it was going to reverse and dump. Mainly because if I look at the time there, that is, what's that? Yeah, 9:57. Should be around here. Yep. So I got in on this red candle about here, in this candle here. Now it already made a pretty decent move. It had broken through the VWAP, pulled back, then broke the VWAP again, it pushed up higher, and then pulled back and pushed up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles, and then was pulling back. So here, when I got in here, I was expecting it to push further, but I was hoping it would push further sooner. It didn't. It pulled back. 2 candles pulled back and then started going, but I thought it might reject off this level and then carry on pulling back. It didn't. It resolved well, and actually the trade would have worked really well had I stayed in it. So just with high emotions and stuff like that, especially when you've had a big loss, for me, I just wasn't thinking straight and didn't have the patience to actually let things work. And when they were going my way, I wasn't holding on long enough. When they weren't going my way, I was hoping they would, and that's not a good strategy at all. And the last trade on DATS I took was kind of risky. It had pushed off this low here around 450 and held there and then pushed higher and pulled back, pushed again, and I took this second pullback. Probably a bit of a riskier, like really I should have taken that one. If I was going to take one, it should have been the first one. But I did take it. It did look like there was volume coming in. So I took an entry here at $5. It had sort of held that level prior in the previous candle. So I took an entry there at $5. I got filled as it spiked back down, and I got out pretty quickly with some profit. To be honest, I didn't expect it to go that far, and once it pushed up to this level here, it had a little bit of resistance there, but I sold pretty much straight away as it came up to here, and then it pushed a little bit further. Not even sure I would have got much more out of it really, but it was a good quick trade, dip and rip really, and that was my last trade. So that meant I had, so I got 25 cents on that trade, and $50 out of that trade, which I think was my best trade of the day, which it was. It had 25 cents a share, so that was a good trade on DATS. So looking at my stats from today, not great. 10 trades, 4 in the green, 6 red, and 40% accuracy and a risk reward ratio of 0.3. My fees are still going to come out of this as well, so at the most my fees will be $20, but there were definitely some trades in there that were commission free, so it might be about, I don't know, there might have been half of them that were commission free, so maybe $10 more in fees. So my net profit, or my profit, which I'll just make that. Yeah, my gross profit is $623.98. Or loss, I should say, not profit, because it's in the red. Yeah, so not a great day for me. Now, coming into, really what I should have been doing when I took that big loss on KBSX, I really should have, if I can get rid of those, sorry. I've got my drawings still up there. Yeah. So when I took the loss on KBSX and misclicked and ended up taking a $300 loss, that was probably the time when I needed to walk away. So I got triggered after that. I was not angry, I was just annoyed at myself for misclicking and not getting out straight away. If you're not meant to be in a trade, why hold on to it? Unless it's moving in the right direction, maybe. But that one wasn't moving in the right direction. It was, as soon as I bought in, I was losing. And I was losing more than I wanted to. So I should have just cut it straight away, out. So, when you're doing things like that and something like that happens, you misclick or you miskey something and you ended up buying something that you're not meant to, or adding more than you're meant to, it might be better to get out of it straight away before you take a bigger loss than's necessary. So yeah, and then I should have walked away, come back tomorrow, and with a clear head, and then just got back in and started trading with a clear head, not be emotionally charged and that sort of thing. So yeah, but now it's time to recover. I'm down now. So I was in profit, but now that $600 loss has meant that I have come down to below on my starting point, what I funded my account with. So now, not only do I have to recover from a loss, but I also have to recover my account back to its original figure or amount. So that means I have to take even more rules, make more rules to stop me from, over trading or not trading well and losing, and reduce my risk, manage my risk. So it's about more about protecting my account now than it is about making profit. And it might be a bit of a grind to get back to where I was before. So I'll only be taking one trade a day up until I get my confidence back, and I've put some more profit back in my account and built my account up. So once I've got a good green streak underneath my belt, then I'll look at trading, releasing those restrictions on my trading, and only trading A quality setups, A quality stocks, and those are the best setups that I can trade with the highest chance of working. So that's the obvious stock on the day. For me, my criteria is a stock that has a catalyst, and it's priced between $2 and $20. It's up 10%, over 10% on the day. It has relative volume, high relative volume, and low float, under 10 million shares. So that's sort of the stock criteria that I like to trade. Although I do trade some others now and again, sometimes with higher float, some stocks that sort of grind a bit more, but I prefer the lower float stocks. And the best setup for me is, the front side of the moves. When a stock's going up, if you use the MACD, when that's open, and that's the best time for me to trade or think about taking a trade, and then it's just getting in at the right time. So it's usually the first pullback on a move, and especially if it's above the VWAP and it's bullish. Those are the sort of the best entries for me. I'll probably do some paper trading as well, just to get proof of concept on my strategy again. So if I take one live trade, then I'll choose where to take that, but I might take some paper trades first, just to get a bit of confidence that I can execute my trading properly. But I think that's how I'm going to recover my account and get back to being profitable, and get out of this drawdown. So not my best day, but trading's all about learning, and you got to deal with these tough moments, and the traders who succeed learn to deal with these moments and better understand themselves and how to fix them, and moving forward they implement those changes and stick to what works, and do less of what doesn't. It's your strategy is about doing the right thing, but it's also about not doing the wrong thing. So the biggest takeaway today is mistakes happen. It's about how you respond that matters. I need to shake this off, reset for tomorrow, and come back in to the market with a clear head, not worried about what happened today, and moving forward, thinking about being positive and building my account again. So let me know in the comments if you've ever had a massive red day like this and how you dealt with it. Did you get emotionally charged when you were trading? Did you dig the hole deeper? Or how did you bounce back? If you're finding these recaps useful, remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Hei a popo.